They pick up a rare point, 1-1. Here's Arne Slot on that incident with the fans after the game.
This season they will have their opinion and it will not change. But if we can have the summer that we are planning to have, then I'm 100% convinced that we will be a different team next season than we are now. Different in terms of results, different in how things look. But it's not always that simple, because sometimes you know what you have to do, but it's not always possible to also get exactly what you want. But for us, for me, it's really clear what we are lacking this season.
Well, there you are. Liverpool fourth in the table. Champions League, of course, fine for them. Right, Frank is with us.
I think, he talked about next season. I think he has to get to next season. We were talking about this yesterday, and both Shaka and I are in some doubt that he will get there. I think the Ngamoa substitution, albeit he clarified that, and he clarified it in the interview after the match directly, that he asked Ngamoa if he could continue, and the young lad was like, I'm not sure. So that's why he took him off. But I think the reaction of the fans tells you where they are with the manager. Mm-hmm. I think it tells you where they are with the trust of Arne Slot. And after that Gravenberg opening goal, it got really flat. And they allowed Chelsea easy possession. And the crowd again, and I think he's feeling this with the crowd, because he mentioned it in his interview there. The crowd were really restless. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were not booing, but they were getting frustrated about the pace of Liverpool play, about the backward passes, about the lack of ingenuity and everything about a Liverpool team in the last few years that's been really good to watch. It's gone. And he can talk about next season all he wants. They will be in the Champions League. I mean, of course they will be, and that was their objective after their poor start. But he's shown no sign, I don't think, that he can get this Liverpool team playing with any panache again. Yeah. And don't forget this, the Chelsea side. They're celebrating a point. Did you see the players at the end? That's how bad they have been. 6 straight losses. Mm-hmm. And yet they could easily have won this game. So, look, two sides that are struggling. But I think a Liverpool manager who has managed to do something that not a lot of Liverpool managers have done recently, and it's make the fans start to turn against them, which the Liverpool fans have started to do with Arne Slot.
Look, I sat here yesterday and said I couldn't see any scenario where, other than Chelsea winning, Liverpool winning comfortably. Given what we've seen from Chelsea of late, particularly last week against Nottingham Forest B, it was the least you could expect from Liverpool going out and winning comfortably. Now, Arne Slot quite clearly talking confidently, but I've got more questions. Kind of given what he said. He's talking about if we have the summer that we plan to have, as though the summer that they had last year was not good enough, or this summer is somehow going to be better. Are you going to spend more money than you did last summer? I don't know how you do that, given the fact that there's a World Cup this summer, and you can probably expect 80% of your players to be a part of that World Cup, and so therefore maybe come back for pre-season a little bit later. How is this summer going to be better than last? And given the fact that you were coming off a season in which you were champions, had the summer that you did, both in terms of spending and time, and you produced this, why am I, as a Liverpool fan, going to sit back and say, well, yeah, this is the summer where it all comes together? Yeah. There is absolutely nothing about this that makes any sense to me, despite Arne Slot's confidence.
Frank, it was a game I felt it just lacked real quality.
Yeah, that's my concern, because if Chelsea maybe deserved to win, it's mostly because Liverpool were very bad, except the first 10 minutes of the game. And therefore, you see the game, you say, well, Chelsea drawing, yeah, it's not that bad. But when I see the last picture of Fofana laughing about drawing at Anfield Road, yeah, it's a good result, but you're 9th in the league. So you shouldn't laugh, you shouldn't be happy. Yeah, because what you've done before, the 6-0, the 6 defeat that you got before, that's shameful. So just, be satisfied with maybe the way you played. And by the way, I was very happy to see Colwill coming back, because he was missed a lot. But really, I'm not convinced about neither of the two teams, because Liverpool were very bad. I don't see Slot continuing, even if he thinks that he has any solutions to get better, because he didn't have since the Community Shield that we saw last year at the beginning of just before the beginning of the season. We saw nothing improving, so I don't see why it would be different. And from Chelsea, I'm very concerned because defensively it's not there. Offensively, we lost some players. It's not good enough to pretend that you can get something out of it. And I'm very concerned about the future. Hopefully, they're going to get the coach who will refine, like Michael Carrick for Manchester United, the recipe for Chelsea to get better.
Well, Chelsea have changed it ahead of this game next week against Man City. Don't know what they'll do, but they played a back three today. They had some wing backs, and then they flooded the midfield with João Pedro up front. And Arne Slot said afterwards, well, we struggled to cope because of the amount of people. And don't forget Cucurella and Palmer come in there as well. And he said we struggled with the midfield because Chelsea flooded the midfield. Well, maybe he didn't know they were going to do that, or maybe he didn't know they were going to go to a back three before the game. And that graphic's wrong, by the way. But he certainly did when the game started. Because he looked at the game, and I always say this, you know, it is important to get your tactics right before the game, but sometimes you get your tactics and it's not working, and that's where the best coaches come along, or the best managers, because within 5, 10 or 20 minutes of a game, they're like, right, this isn't working, I need to make this change, and that change, because that's going to affect it. But he didn't do that. He just said after the game, wow, we didn't expect Chelsea they dominated the midfield, they had the extra men in there, and we didn't really deal with that. Isn't it his job to cope with that? Isn't it his job to make those changes rather than just sit in his hands and watch Chelsea have the extra man in there? So, you know, there's a lot of questions about, and obviously there's no question about the Chelsea coach because he'll go back to be doing what he does. But there's certainly a lot of questions about the Liverpool coach and his lack of, I'm going to say, in-game management. It's all very well picking the team to go out and start, but it's your in-game management, particularly when it's not going well. And when Liverpool lost the ascendancy in that game pretty early on after a very good start, he didn't do a lot to change that. And that would be the worrying thing for me. And as the crowd get more frustrated and more frustrated, he as a manager did not do a lot, if anything, to make a tactical change within this Liverpool team, which he hasn't really done all year. He has struggled from day dot this year to figure out the issues that Liverpool have. He's gone to a press conference. He said, well, as Shaka said, well, we'll get to the end of the season. We'll spend more money. I know what's the problem. We'll get there next year. If you know what's the problem, why haven't you done something about it? And what they played 35 games this year, and he's not done much about it whatsoever. Which is why we're seeing Liverpool play in the manner in which we see most weeks, which is by their standards very, very mediocre.
A lot more of what we've seen in the Premier League over on Extra Time, where we stay late to answer some of your questions. That is available over on our YouTube channel.